welcome to a demo of Fertility Planner Pro. If you log in with your Gmail, hopefully other emails will be allowed here soon, but for now it's just Gmail. You'll see any of the fields you're a part of. I'm an owner on all of these, but if you are an editor or a viewer, you would see that as well. Let's jump into Test Farm. Checking out the dashboard, a couple fields showing you spring and fall application totals. This is the total for the operation. Here's your product breakdowns and your fertility costs per acre. If we jump into products, there's an ability to look at a quick price update for any products that you have here. It shows you which ones are active that you're using, which ones you're not. If you jump down to P-Source in the fall, let's change that from Croplex to DAP and watch in the upper right as the total input cost changes. You see we just have phosphorus and nitrogen in DAP. It knows that. It knows when we switch back to Croplex, there's other components that are going to drop down because of that. These are all the products we're using and where we're using them on the farm. We also have the ability to add a product, give it a name, dry or liquid, give it a price. Also, the primary nutrient, let's call that one nitrogen. Next one's phosphorus. Let's say it's sulfur. You can do custom combinations of products right in here, and then use those in the various parts of your operation. If you'd like, you can also import a quote with AI. So if we click on this, I'll show you how to set up the API later using your key. Let's take this picture I wrote some things down on. AI is now going to read that. Claude is going to read that. And there, it's suggesting we change our prices to this. We can uncheck ones we don't like, apply the price to ones we do like, and go from there. Next, if we jump into logic, you can see I've got 3 crops set up. I can always add a new crop. If I click on that crop, I'll call it sweet corn. Right now it's just got P and K by default. So it says your P source is Croplex. If that was DAP, it wouldn't say this. How much of that sulfur do we want to include or count towards our total sulfur plan? I know that Croplex is half elemental, half sulfate sulfur, so I'm only going to count 50%. Oh, sorry, 0.5%. 0.5, there we go. So 50% of it is credited. So instead of it being 10%, it's telling me it's 5%. Am I going to use starter? If I do, I want my rate and which product. Am I going to use liquid zinc? If so, what's the rate in quarts per acre and which product am I going to use? Let's just say that's 1 quart. Let's say that's 5 gallons. We're going to use 624.6 and we're going to use 9% liquid zinc right there. Now if I want to add nitrogen, my base goal for sweet corn might be 150 pounds, but if I'm following regular corn, I want to have a high residue premium. Let's call that 40 pounds, and you'll see previous crops that trigger that preview. Let's say it's corn. My primary nitrogen source is urea. We sometimes like using ESN, and so when we use ESN, we will have 50% of it being urea, 50%. If I change that to 40, you'll see it's 40%, 60%. If I'm going to do a side dress pass, how much of that nitrogen should I reserve for side dress? Let's say 40 pounds, sulfur 10, and the products I'm going to use come in from before, post N, post S. If I had a post pass where I had zinc or boron, I could add those products as well in the product tab. So now I've got sweet corn set up. Let's save that crop. For P and K, I've got a few different plans here. You can always add one, and this here you'll see on the Fields tab where we'll be able to change which P and K program we're going to go with. So now we're in the Fields tab. I can add a field. Let's say it's 50 acres. Previous crop was sweet corn. Well, let's just say it was corn. It's going to be sweet corn. And I plan on side dressing it and putting ESN in the starter. So some of these fields, we've turned it on for the crop, but that doesn't mean it's on for every field. Some fields For sweet corn, you might not want to use starter, and you can choose that on a by field basis. And we have one owner, and by default, he's 100%. We do have some season overrides where if the P is going to move or the K is going to move to the spring instead of the fall, we can make those changes here. Let's go ahead and save that field. Once we're on the field, we can always turn the starter on and off, ESN on and off. Any of the ones that we've added to that crop, usually dry boron, dry zinc, are not part of this. They could be if we went in and edited the crop and allowed that. So that is the fields. Let's say we want to add a whole bunch of fields at once. We're a new user. So let's import that with AI. I took a screenshot here from a Google search of field view with a bunch of fields and acres. And Claude is now reading that list. You'll see there's the fields. Let's import those. And the ownership is right there. And I can bulk edit these fields as well. Let's say I want to do these 4 fields are going to be soybeans. Now if we go to the breakout tab, we'll see our P, K, nitrogen, all of our goals. We can see actual product quantities, which will come in handy later for checking this against any invoices that come through. Also cost estimates. And we've got field total and per acre. You can see there per acre by nutrient, how much is it total on the right. In the ownership tab, here's where we would add any owners. So let's do, call this the sun. He might be 5%. He might be 95%. So any new fields we create, the default will be 95.5. Tester Timmy, here's all of his fields. If I go to the team, this is where I can add team members. Got some pending invites. We've got my Anthropic key. So this is very important to have in there. And I can invite someone to the field. Are they an editor? Are they a viewer? And I can actually control which fields they have access to seeing, sending off that invite. On the reports tab, we can generate a report for that field or many fields. Go ahead and print that. Data and history. This is where we can export the data locally, advance to the next year, archiving 2026. You can see some version histories as well. So in case you feel like you made a mistake, you don't know what to do, there's 30 of these that are saved. Crop rotation history. And a portal for the AI document reading where all 3 of those are held. Also, a help guide here. So very curious to see what you guys think of this. Hopefully, this is something that you find useful and you can find some more features we can add.